So over the last couple of days, I was hearing some of my students use this word smog, and I think I asked some of you, what does that mean? And you're like, yeah, well, there are two different types of smog. You have industrial smog and photochemical smog. Industrial smog, which is something that we don't really experience here as much in the United States anymore, and especially not in Florida, is where you have large quantities of sulfur oxides and particulate matter in the air. And industrial smog was a concern back at the beginning of the Industrial Revolution, because most factories, to get their energy, they were using steam engines. And to produce the steam, they would burn their own wood or coal there at the factory. And burning it, they would release a lot of sulfur oxides and fly ash, or small ash that came off of burning wood or coal, and that's what made up the particulate matter. It's worse in winter months, and it kind of has a grayish tint or color. You can still see some of these in the northern areas where they burn wood and what are those things called? We don't have them in Florida. What do they call? Fireplace. There we go. Where you burn wood in fireplaces, and you'll see like a grayish haze because of all of the exhausts of people burning that. But what we have here in Florida quite often is photochemical smog. And this is where sunlight interacts with nitrogen oxides and, which one? You have VOCs to make, what do you make? You make ozone. That makes ozone in the troposphere. And it's worse in summer months. So we're coming up on when we'll have some photochemical smog. And the color that you'll notice is more of an orange color. If you kind of look out into the horizon and notice that the horizon is somewhat brownish orange, photochemical smog is being produced. And the source is really coming from automobiles, bakeries, dry cleaners, but mainly transportation. So, about 40 years ago, a little more, in the 1970s, we were having a lot of, or high increase of health problems. And doing a risk assessment and then risk analysis, we noticed that a lot of the problems were, their point source was air pollution. And so Congress enacted the Clean Air Act to try to control some of these common air pollutants to bring them down. And if you look at their metric tons per year from 1970 to 2000, you can see that they have reduced. And we have made air quality much better because of the Clean Air Act. So as we move now from the outside, we're going indoors. And indoor, there are some common indoor pollutants. And indoor pollution can have a much larger impact on human health than outdoor, just because it's so concentrated. It's stuck in this little box, and it just kind of bounces around in here and interacts with you in higher concentrations than it would outside. The first pollutant we're going to look at here is radon, which is a colorless, odorless, tasteless radioactive gas that's produced by breaking down of the natural decay of uranium. If inhaled or digest, it increases the risk of lung cancer. Highest levels are found in homes on the Reading Prong, which is an area. And getting your home tested for corrective actions are reasonably priced. But radon gas can seep in through your house, through cracks and seeps from just the earth and coming up. Other ways to control it are to seal cracks down below, also make ventilation better for your house to get them out, and then installing those almost like a smoke alarm testers for radon gas. And the last pollutant that we're going to look at, this indoor pollutant, is asbestos. And some of you might have seen the commercials. Have you been exposed to asbestos? Have you been diagnosed with mesothelioma? Well, that's asbestos. And asbestos is a natural mineral that does not burn or conduct heat. So there's an opportunity there. We could use this to be a fire retardant, or something to put in buildings so if a fire starts, it doesn't burn that much. It's valuable in construction and industry as a fire retardant materials. Electrical insulation. Electrical equipment creates a lot of heat and potential for fires. And then also roofing and piping insulation. Well, asbestos breaks off and creates little dust particles, or some of the asbestos will break off and float around like dust. And it can be inhaled. And if it inhales, it can sit inside of your lungs for somewhere up to 40 years. And it doesn't break down, and then it can cause mesothelioma, or a rare type of fatal cancer. Removal is kind of hard because the stuff is brittle. It has to be removed properly, and one way to get rid of it is kind of painting over it, and it sticks it all together. So that's a key one. You can paint over it to get it over. A lot of schools way back in the day used to put asbestos in. Quite a few schools are shut down because of it. And I'm talking 1960s, 1950s era, so freedom's good. But asbestos is a huge contributor to cancer. There we go. We're finished with Chapter 19, Air Pollution.